All right, so we're going to go over the solution to the second problem in the grind 75. So this is valid parentheses. So just a refresher, we are checking to see if a string containing only these parentheses right here is valid. And the way that we check if it's valid is if the open brackets are closed by the same type of brackets and they are closed in the correct order. So I put some examples up of some good test cases. So the first one is pretty straightforward. This is the most basic thing you're looking for, just a matching pair like that. This one sort of highlights how they don't have to come one right after the other. They can be nested in this fashion as long as the proper closing bracket occurs in the proper place. So this one happens right after this one. Um, and for example, this closing bracket is not here. And some weird cases are these ones where we have just an open parenthesis. That should not be the case because there should always be a pair of an opening and a closing. And then this is also a weird case where we start out with a closing. So the way that we do this is by using a stack, and the solution I found is actually very simple and very intuitive. So we're going to switch over to that right now. And we start by making a stack, and for each character in that stack, so we do two char array for a string. This is a string method. If it's the closing version, or if it's the opening version, then we will push the closing version. And we will do that for all of them until we get to the very last one. So for all opening ones, we push the corresponding closing one. If we don't see an opening one, then we check to see if the stack is empty. And if the stack is empty, that means that an opening parenthesis or an opening bracket of some kind has not been placed there. So that means we should return false, which helps us in this case right here, where we start off with a closing parenthesis, even though we've never pushed an opening, we've never seen an opening parenthesis before, so we've never pushed one of these there. And then we will also return false if when we pop from the stack, it is not the character that we are currently looking at. So for example, if this one, if this curly brace was here, then that would be incorrect, because if we're iterating through this, and this is the string input as indicated by these quotes, we would pop, where we would push onto the stack this open parenthesis, and then this open curly brace, and then this open bracket. But if the next thing in line was to be a closed curly brace, then, sorry, that would not get added to the stack. Then when we were to actually pop from the stack, we would pop this item, which would not be that. But sorry, when we were pushing these items, we're not actually pushing those items. We're pushing their closing versions. So that way, we are only comparing closings, closing brackets to each other. But it's the same idea. And again, so credit for the solution goes to Phoenix 13 Steve. Very good solution, very clean solution. I should try to write code like this more in the future. Something that I learned is that you don't use import statements, not for Java, not really for any language. You can just use the data structure up front. So that's helpful. I also have to remember certain methods like these and some simple things like confusing size and dot length and length with parentheses. And I should also remember is empty methods are usually built into data structures. Um, but other than that, that is the solution to valid parentheses.